committee meeting that only finished at 6:10. If I start falling asleep, you know why. Right, the agenda. Number 1, apologies for that.
Councillor Jane Wilson, Councillor Sarah Benthwaite, Councillor Nick Wyatt.
Madam Mayor, would you like to turn your speaker on? Or microphone? We're not using.
Not those microphones, no.
No. Oh, there. I see. Beg your pardon.
Yeah.
Sorry. Beg your pardon.
Agenda item number 2, declarations of interest. Does anyone know?
Class of declaring non-pecuniary interest in item 12. Their daughters will attend the Community Sports Trust half-term events and just wanted to know that.
Thank you. Anybody else? Oh, sorry.
Declaring interest the Vice Chair of the Field Heritage Group in relation to the report.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Item number 3, minutes of the full council meetings. So we've got 3.1, annual town meeting minutes 24th of March, and 3.2, full council minutes 19th of May. Are there any issues? I'm presuming not, because nobody has shouted at any point. We need a proposer and a seconder for these, please. We have. Are we happy to take them both together? Fabulous. Great, thank you. Chris, do we have a seconder? James. Okay, if nobody's got anything, we'll go to the vote. That, unanimous.
I was not here.
Okay. Ellen Franklin. Item 4 is Masters Horizon for a minute, and presuming there are no Masters Horizon, so we're good. Now, item 5 on the agenda is the planning committee. However, I am going to, if everybody's okay, go to item 7, which is community. That was timely. Delivery. 7.1 is the local police unit, so it's just now. And this is exciting. 7.2 is Citizens Advice Bureau, and 7.3 is the report from the Silk Museum. So would you like a minute?
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm so sorry it was a little bit late. I do apologise.
Okay.
Something came up. Oh, right. So last time I was here, you asked for a little bit more of a breakdown based on what was happening in your individual areas. So I thought I'd start tonight with a little bit of a breakdown of the sort of crimes we're seeing in your different beat areas. So if we talk about Macclesfield as a whole, since the last meeting up until the beginning of this month, we've had around 1,300 crimes reported around traffic offences. Now that could be around RTCs, so road traffic collisions, or drink drive, drug drive. We've had 238 missing persons reported to Macclesfield. We've had 431 reports of suspicious activity, 650 domestics, and 254 across the whole of Macclesfield around antisocial behaviour, which is quite encouraging. It's quite a low number for an area of this size. So if I take those down to our individual areas, and if I start with the Knutsford area, so Knutsford had 916 of those were traffic related. Now that will relate to your M6 because the M6 goes through Knutsford, your Knutsford services, those sorts of areas. Suspicious activity, 101. We get quite a lot of suspicious activity around the Mere area and the big houses around the golf course. So we've got quite a bit around there. Domestics, 72. Only 35 reports of antisocial behaviour in the Knutsford area, which is really reassuring. That seems to be coming down, but I will start bringing this quarter on quarter comparison so you can see the change. If we look at the Wilmslow area, there was 164 traffic incidents, 136 domestics, and then 45 around the antisocial behaviour side of things. And then if we look at the Macclesfield and Poynton area, because they come as a whole. There were 916 traffic incidents in the Maxfield and Poynton area. We do seem to have quite a few road traffic collisions in that area in different roads, and we have got some hotspot areas that we are looking at putting down. It's called a tag master, so that'll tell us the speeds that are coming down those roads and if it's something we need to be concerned about. 49 missing persons, 150 domestics, 79 reports of antisocial behaviour, which again is quite low for the size of area and the amount of areas we've got where we would expect to see that. And then if we look as MAC as a central, 170 around the traffic incidents, 200 domestics, and then 95 around the antisocial behaviour. So 95 reports of antisocial behaviour. But that again is something that month on month we'll be able to look at and see whether we're increasing or decreasing. As we come towards the summer months, obviously they will start to increase. Based on those reports now, we've, as I mentioned at the last meeting, brought together a group called the Macclesfield MAP. So that's a multi-agency partnership. So now we meet every month and we will sit down with all of our partners from housing, antisocial behaviour in Cheshire East, and all those different partnership groups, and look at where our repeat problems are or our repeat persons of interest are. So we're now working as a full partnership as opposed to the police being able to do everything around parking, roads, ASB, housing issues. On the back of that, we've also, you probably saw it recently, and I know I wandered into the offices here, seeing that there was a large cannabis farm that we found in the old bank in the High Street. It was massive, it was really big. So on the back of that, we've then gone and checked all of the disused banks and building societies in the local area to check that this isn't a pattern that's starting to develop, where we're finding people setting up cannabis grows in empty buildings basically that aren't really being managed because they're owned by a company that's 100 miles away, and they're not really keeping an eye on what's going on in there. We've increased the number of beat officers as well. So we had a look at where our beat officers were, so they're the beat cops that you see out on the street, and actually we've increased those numbers. So we've got more beat officers in our establishment now, and that will look to increase again in the next 6 to 8 months. So we've increased those. We've also done a little bit of realignment. There were some officers that you weren't seeing due to leave, due to sickness, maternity, paternity, those sorts of things. So we've actually realigned some of those officers now, so you will get a more visible footprint on your areas. If you look on the website, should be updated this week, you will see now all the officers are right next to the wards that you are responsible for. Local working with those beat officers and our MP's office as well. We've got some reports of other drug dealing activity that was going on around the park area in central Macclesfield. We executed a warrant on Friday and seized probably over £500,000 worth of drugs from that address.
Sorry, say that again.
We executed a warrant on Friday and seized around £500,000 worth of drugs. Can't go into the details with it still being sub judice, but actually just to prove that we are listening to the voices that are coming through from our residents. And I think going on to that, one of the things for me today was to ask if you would be able to encourage your constituents to become part of our residents' voice surveys that you can get on the internet. The little QR code you can scan, you can tell us what's going on in your area. Now we've got our extra beat teams, now we're getting that real focus around what you're saying and what we're doing. If you can encourage your residents to become part of that residents' voice, that would be really helpful for us. And we also got through the residents' voice, there was concerns around taxis operating in the area. So we had a lot of concerns around taxi operations. So we've run 4 operations in the last 2 months where we've stopped and spoken to all taxi drivers, checked their licensing conditions, check their insurance, check who they are licensed with. And we found that a lot of Macclesfield taxis were licensed in Wolverhampton. So our last operation, we brought Wolverhampton licensing down, and we did the same operation again, and we got Wolverhampton to check their conditions. So just to show that actually we've got a full footprint across all of the people that are operating in our area that our communities are using. The only other thing as well is we hold a community cohesion group once a quarter. So our community cohesion group is attended by members of the public with interest in policing and looking at the police scrutiny around use of force, hate crime and stop and search. So if you have any of your members that would like to become part of the community cohesion group, we're always looking for new members. Macclesfield took a new approach and we actually run it alongside the school. So we get our young person's voice in our community cohesion groups. And what I would think is a suitable use of force as a police officer would be very different to what you think is suitable, and will definitely be very difficult to what our younger generation think is suitable. So we've got a lot of our younger people on that as well. We've also used our new powers around travel legislation. So historically we've had a lot of issues with encampments set up in the Wilmslow area, quite significant size encampments. Now the new legislation has come in because we have the transit site in the Congleton area. We are able to move our travel encampments on within 24 hours, sometimes shorter. We've had 3 travel encampments in the last 3 months, all of which have been gone within 6 to 8 hours. Which is making it a lot easier for us to use our powers and making it a bit of a better spot for the community when they've got them on playing fields and that sort of thing. Number of successful warrants have been executed and arrested. A number of burglars that have been linked to the burglaries in the Macclesfield and Wilmslow area. So we've seen a decrease in the burglaries in our high value areas, which has been really, really promising. And the only other thing was, we also talked about CCTV and facial recognition last time that I was here, and I've had the wonderful help from the officers here as well. So we've gone out and put together a nice investigate guide. So when you have shoplifting in your businesses in your local areas, we're going to deliver these out to the majority of our businesses. If not, they can come and pick them up from Macclesfield Police Station. And this explains really easily how you upload your CCTV to the police. So actually you don't need to wait for a PCSO to come and pick it up. You can do it instantly, and then we can start the investigation. It'll be assigned to a police officer, and we can go and do what we do best and lock up the bad people and pop them through facial recognition. And I know I have 2 wonderful signatures on this now helping me to push this through and deliver it out to all of our businesses. So it'll just make it nice and easy for them to upload it, and I will pass this one round for you to have a quick look at. It is only my little prototype, so we'll have to take it back with me. And that is a quick roundup of where we are this month. Any questions?
Shall I go first? Do you want to go first, Div?
Shall we? Chair should be
Sorry, I beg your pardon.
Yes, David. Go on.
Thank you. Have you any news on cooperation with Cheshire East Council about a noise camera on Silk Road?
No. We've used noise cameras on the A34, which is over Wilmslow Way,
Yeah.
and they weren't the best, is the easiest way of putting it. A lot of these supercars that we have over there are louder than your normal car, and trying to get confirmation of what the decibels should be set at for a vehicle has proven quite difficult. So no, we haven't, and not that I'm aware of. We've been talking to the council about the noise cameras. We're looking more at a PSPO on the A34, which is Public Space Protection Order, which will stop people congregating, people filming, people driving in convoy. So it's more around dispersing the antisocial behaviour than the actual, because people drive their Bugattis and all sorts to go to Waitrose every day of the week. It's just every now and again we get 20 kids that want to stand in the middle of the central reservation and film it. So no, we haven't had any conversations about the noise cameras that I'm aware of on the Silk Road.
I think Madam Mayor will agree with me that we have a problem on sunny days, motorbikes and fast cars going up the Silk Road.
Okay,
It's worth thinking about, yeah?
okay.
The second thing is, you said about cannabis.
Yes.
Was on Mill Street, did you say?
Is it the old Halifax?
Yeah,
Jade.
Chestergate.
Chestergate, that's it. I'm
And
still
I
learning.
have to say that I used to be a publican. I know what it smells like, and I walked past it, and it was going on for ages, and I'm rather surprised that the police, PCSOs or whatever, that are out on the beat couldn't smell it.
Couldn't smell it
And
until
also-
we were inside. So they had a really good ventilation system in that meant it was going up 3 stories high and disappearing. Wouldn't have known it was there.
Well, as I said, I could smell it in the street, walking down the street.
But I
I'm
would
a
say,
little bit surprised as well that they could bring in all that equipment into the town centre without somebody noticing.
you've got your bank shutters at the back of that building, so it would come down the back, and I'm still learning my roads, so it would come down the back of the one-way system, and if you go down the left, and you can come all the way to the back without one CCTV camera picking you up,
Really?
and you're into the big metal shutters, reverse into the metal shutters, shut the doors, and you wouldn't see a thing. Very impressive. Not right, but impressive.
I think the last point is, I think Madam Mayor corrected me on this, that I have mentioned about the councillors having mobile phone numbers. I think you've got some, haven't you?
I've got
PCS.
PCSOs.
But I think we have mentioned that we should all have contacts in case of emergency, and we're big boys and girls.
I will check. My only, I suppose, reservation with giving you a permanent contact number is if they're on holiday
Yeah,
or off for their 4 days,
yeah.
how would you get that response from them? Because it may not be that that PCSO that was covering it on that time, so that would be, I suppose, the proviso if you have them. We have got work numbers that we can give out, it's not a problem. But it would be on the understanding that they may be on holiday or on rest
Yeah.
days and not picking up, if you like.
Perhaps there'll be a message saying I'm on holiday.
I think it just says that you can't leave a message because otherwise they come back to lots and lots of messages. But yes, I'm sure we can get a list together and send it over with all the PCSOs.
Thank you very much. Simon.
What you just said is where, I mean, I sent a message to the PCSO for Tidrington on Tuesday, and I've not had a response to it. So, I mean, I didn't need a response.
Yeah.
It was just a reminder.
The-
But if he's off, or if he's on holiday, or if he's poorly, then it's not a very effective way.
I think possibly the best way, so we've just realigned our, if you go onto Cheshire Police website, there is a form. It's really easy because I tested it, which my PCSOs thought was sneaky, but if you go onto Cheshire Police's website, there is a can I speak to my neighbour or policing officer, and you fill it out, and they guarantee, because they do, because I checked, they will reply to you within 36 hours. Is probably the easiest way of getting into us to speak to us, because actually they will know who isn't on. So that mailbox is monitored daily, it's picked up daily, and the information is sent to wherever it needs to be. So if they weren't on duty, they would know who would be the best person to speak to. So I'll send that link out.
Please. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Evening, Zoe. Thank you for telling me. Just a couple of points. Obviously, I've emailed you about a specific incident that hopefully we can catch up at
Yes.
some other point. It'd be great to sit down with you and discuss where we go forward from that. You were talking about the speeding and a tag.
Yes. So if we've got an area of concern, it's, you know, when you're driving along and you see
Yeah.
the 2 rubber strips, it'll tell you how fast vehicles are going over that and the threshold.
I'm just asking or wondering, is Presby Road on the list, because the amount of vehicles I see speeding up from very close up towards 4 lane ends roundabouts,
What roundabout? Sorry.
and 4 lane ends, Priory Lane, Junction, Presby Road.
I don't know whether it has been, but it will be now.
And I am aware that there are vacancies, or will be vacancies. Do you know how long they will be filled?
Vacancies for.
Well, I had an email from one of our beat officers saying that we're even gone.
They're all filled.
Right.
So there'll be a new one stepping into your. So I've brought more beat officers in. I've realigned them all, so every beat will have a officer assigned to it, and there will be some surplus. So it's already filled. I can't remember who it is. If you check the in the internet, they updated it this week, so it'll either be on the end of this week or into next week. But they've all been changed. Who was your old
Cecil.
Cecil? Yeah. Yes, his post has been filled.
Thank you very much.
And it'll be James, but I'm not sure which one, because there's a couple of Jameses joining us.
Thank you.
Would it be unreasonable for me to ask that you ask the PCs or PCSOs mean, our contact details are really readily available, just to reach out to the councillors and introduce themselves as the
Do you
business.
have, when you do your meeting, do you have like that contact list with your email addresses, etc.? Would you be able to forward that to me and I'll get them to get in touch?
Yeah, okay, yeah,
Is that all right?
I'll do that, yeah. Lovely, thank
And
you.
I'll get them to drop you all an email with their email address and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely. Just a couple of things from me. Your community cohesion group, you said the school is involved.
yes.
Which school?
Oh, the high school in the middle of Macclesfield, the big one. What? Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's linked to Sir John Dean's, I think, Northwich way.
Yes,
Yeah.
And how many children do you have in your community cohesion group? Roughly.
16.
Oh, okay.
I was counting around the tables when I was there last.
And how many in total are on your community cohesion group, including the children?
It's probably an equal split of 16 children, 16 adults, but they're running the day at the minute. The plan is to try and maybe run some in an evening or a weekend so that people can come that have got Monday to Friday jobs.
Yeah.
Because at the minute it's based on you being able to get out during a working day. But there's roughly around 16 young people and adults, and it changes who they are. There's more on the group, it just changes on who can attend. But we'd like to get a bigger representation if possible.
Lovely, thank you. And Councillor Bennett Wake has asked me to bring up, she said that she's really struggling to get hold of her PCSO. So I said, who's your PCSO? And she said, Rob Evans. And I said, oh, that's my PCSO as well. That might be why, if he's covering two areas. Titherington is mine and Huddersfield is Sarah's. We had a problem with drug activity around, I'm presuming, the green on the corner, where they hold community groups in Huddersfield, and there's been vulnerable people there for whatever group they've been attending, and there's been some drug activity, and they've struggled to get any response from the police.
That's
So
unusual.
people are feeling quite vulnerable, I think.
Yeah, no, I'll
She
take
just
that.
asked me to mention it.
Yeah, I'll take that back.
Lovely. That's great. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see. It's because David got carried away.
With regards to stuff like that, if people don't feel they can, obviously that one can, but if people do feel like they can't speak to the police, Crime Stoppers is a fantastic way to report stuff. It's completely anonymous. They won't give us anybody's information that reports it, and we'll get all of the details still. And again, it's a really quick and simple form you can fill out on the internet.
Yeah, I think on that one it was they wanted a response as
Yeah.
opposed to telling somebody that it happened. Sorry, Dan.
Yeah, one day if I did find the other going last, and everybody else will ask the question you're going to ask. We just, I think just to note that this case that goes missing, that increase in beat police is welcome. I think particularly part of all of us. So I just like to pass that back and the fact that we're indicating that we're responding over the next 6 months. That shows the response to some of the concerns that have been echoed by council. Just thank you for that.
I think you've done fabulous. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. No,
Very
thank
great.
you.
Very good figures.
Yes. I said I'll bring you a comparison so you can see.
Thank you.
Fabulous. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's great. Okay. So 7.2 is Citizens Advice Bureau. Will McCullough. Thank you.
Indeed, yes, indeed. I am Will McCallum, the Chief Officer from Citizens Advice. And firstly, I'd just like to kick off the report that hopefully everyone's seen. It's actually January to March inclusive, so it stops short of April, even though it does say January to April, so I do apologise for that. And hopefully everyone's had the opportunity to see it. So as is expected, and I think I probably referred to it in my previous quarter, the period following Christmas is a relative increase in numbers because there's a reduction as we lead up to Christmas. People, I like to say, part of their problems. So the overall numbers of clients is increased by 193. and the number of problems that people have brought to us has increased by 438, and the amount of additional income, and that's calculated over a 12-month period, for that period is up by over £160,000. So we've seen more clients, more issues, and fortunately for those clients, for some of those clients at least, we're assisting them, enabling them to increase their annual incomes. Welfare benefits, I think I possibly mentioned it before, welfare benefits covers a lot of what we do because it's a pervasive issue. Somebody loses their job, we help them with the employment, but we also help them re-establish some kind of income. The relationship breaks down, there's a reduction in income again, so we help people. People have unmanageable debts, we're helping them with the debts, but again we'd look to be maximising their income. So welfare benefits is probably will always be up there as the number one issue that we deal with because it covers so many different areas. And there's been a trend over the last few years really that housing has just been steadily increasing. That seems to have levelled off. Still a bit early to say for sure that's an absolute, but it seems to have levelled off. But relationship breakdown for the quarter is increased, and so has immigration. And I think possibly I would have mentioned previously that as far as immigration is concerned, our budget, such as it is for interpreter services, is constantly having to be increased because that's something that we're seeing a lot more of. People coming to our service with little or no spoken English, and certainly often very little written English, so we're having to do access interpreter services, which comes at a cost. And as far as our overall service is concerned, we're dealing with a lot of cost of living type issues, and as a consequence of that, we've been asked to join the Altogether Fairer Commission, which I'm sure some of the councillors will be aware of, and that's part of Cheshire's Health and Wellbeing Board, so it's a subgroup of Health and Wellbeing Board. We do collate a lot of data, we collate a lot of profiling information, and if there's anything specific that the council would want me to report on, I'm very happy to do that. But the amount of data that we have and our experience of the issues that clients are dealing with hopefully will mean that we're able to make a positive contribution to the Altogether Fairer Commission. I provided some case studies to illustrate the kind of issues that we're dealing with, but as ever, very, very happy to take any questions.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Have you got any questions or comments?
Can I just make one comment, please, Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I'll be brief.
Go on.
I have a friend who came to you about his electricity bill, and you did a fantastic job. But ever since then, you've been giving him free vegetables and fruit and a tray of meals and so on. Does that ring true? Is that possible in your system?
It may well be that we have linked him in with maybe a pantry or a food bank. We don't know. We don't have any certainly perishables in our offices. It may well be that we've linked him in. So, for example, we do a service at the Church of the Resurrection pantry, and it's to dovetail with when the pantry's on and when the cafe's on. So if your friend, for example, was accessing our service there, while he was there, if he was a member of the pantry, he might be stocking up on his shopping. But it's not, come to Citizen Advice, get some advice, and a bag of veg.
Right. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. I would just like to say that your reports are always super informative. So thank you for that. They're really clear and they give us all the information that we need. So thank you very much.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
is the Silk Museum. That's Emma Anderson.
Could I just stand here? That'd be all right. So I've circulated the report, I hope, and there were some gaps, but I wasn't sure if you had questions about this. As I said in the report, the major issue, or the major event for the museum has been that we've managed to secure Natural Heritage Memorial lottery funding. And I will keep saying thank you, actually, because I was told how competitive the round was, and so we were probably up against all sorts of other places, but the fact that we had such strong evidence of local buy-in and connectivity and support was the thing that I think finally swung it for us. It took quite a long time to prepare, submit and do all the stuff that's required to get these sort of grants, and now we have to start delivering it. And although it sounds quite a lot of money, it's got to go quite a long way and be stretched across a wide range of activities for the museum. So it's best to see it as a bridge that will take us from where we are now to where we need to be next, and then onwards from there. It will strengthen our work with the communities, and in fact today we've had a meeting with Patrick Birch from the Football Club, because we're really, really keen to reconnect and develop, and we have resources to work with the Football Club again. And we'll be focusing on the fans, on the fan base, as well as the sort of history and successes and so forth, but I think that we really need to have a strong presence, perhaps it's all history, photography or interviews or whatever, about the fan base and the diversity of that fan base. So that's really exciting for us, because we got to a certain point at the opening of the football project last year, which completely changed my sort of view on things, that everyone in that room, and probably everyone in this room, has a story to tell about how their lives have been changed by the football club or vice versa. So it's a really strong strand of our activities going forward, and we'll want to find ways of working with the club, lots and lots of different ways. So that is one of the major things. We will be looking at developing consultation about how the building should expand and develop over time. The money that we've got won't build anything, but it will put us in a position where we know what people want from us. We know better what people want from us, and particularly that it's much more welcoming and much more accessible, and that it just works better for the town, and that by the end of this whole process you all feel that we have a really significant heritage asset that's attracting people to the town from 30, 40, 50 minutes drive time. That's the ambition, isn't it? To have something that draws people into the town and really serves the stories well. So I could talk on and on about this, and I have collated the main headings of the project. I say it's a project, but actually it's everything that the museum's going to be doing for the next 18 months. It sort of pulls everything together as the focus of activity. Over the last months, we have continued to work with communities, and because I was away, I wasn't able to prepare all the information for you, and I apologise about that, but we've had very successful activities with East Cheshire Eye Society, a wonderful opening that the Mayor and councillors came to, so it was an opportunity for us to work in partnership with them very successfully. We are continuing to develop our cafe and want to find ways of connecting with local communities to use that space out of hours, so it's much more seen as a place that people can occupy. We are I wanted to just actually also comment that I was really grateful to be part of the town council consultation, because it was a good way for us to be seen and connect with all sorts of organisations across the town, and that was something I really want to build going forward. So that's a bit of a whistle-stop précis of what I submitted, and I just wondered if people had questions or if you wanted any more information.
Thank you very much, Anne. Do we have any? Mike.
Well, first of all, congratulations, Anne, because you've done an amazing job
Thank
there.
you.
You know, there's lots of wonderful displays in the Suffolk Museum. Of course, I'm focused a little bit on the football club side of things. That I've been had a small part to play in the beginning of that. The Sutton Supporters Trust is a trust that looks after football supporters of Macclesfield FC, and we're in discussions at the moment how we take that forward. Sounds really interesting, the ideas you've got of having maybe a display that's based on stories from those particular people. Probably would give you an enormous amount of information. I'm relatively new to that, although the season ticket holder, as many people are, at Macclesfield FC. But I personally would be really interested in making sure that the Sutton Supporters Trust are invested in that process.
Thank you.
And I know Patrick Birch does attend Sutton Supporters Trust when he can, and so if we can marry those two groups, and perhaps it will help us to find a way forward with that group.
Thank you.
Andy.
Yeah, that's clearly the Hamilton Hackney support. I'm less interested in something, but I can be converted. So just a comment that I think I've had the opportunity last year to attend some of the exhibitions, and the level of creativity that shows within Macclesfield it's actually quite staggering when you see it in terms of that level of art. Just one question, and if I'm picking it up properly, is that part of this funding allowed you to reintroduce some skills in terms of weaving?
Yes, I'm very glad you said that, because I was sort of going through a lot of information very quickly. Skills development is really important, and there are a number of things that we have done and will continue to do and hopefully expand. So we've had some weavers in residence already, and there's an opportunity to get some more. We've just awarded, I think, for graduate students the opportunity to come and work in the mill. We've also got resource to expand the time we have to restore the loom. So it's sort of, if you have a loom, you can have someone working on it. So it's that process. The more looms we have back in action, the more people we can have working on them. And I've told the team that's the plan. We don't just restore looms because that's a nice thing to do. It's got to make a shift. And the young weavers, I don't know if you've met them, called Bea and Ruth, if you ever get a chance, they're completely amazing, because they are not what you'd expect from a sort of dusty old heritage weaving shed. They're really dynamic, and they've explored different techniques, and they're doing really amazing things. So I'm totally in awe of them, and we want more people like them. But also we've got our volunteers developing skills in conservation, research, oral history, so that we've got more people working on our collections. Today, for example, we've had a textiles conservator. Going back to the Cartwright and Sheldon archive, which is boxes and boxes of things which are kind of a bit dusty and a bit this and a bit that, which we'll be able to go through every single one, clean them, repackage, and then be able to see how we can work with them in the future. And opening up these boxes, a bit like opening a box of Quality Streets, is absolutely dazzling. No, for real, because it's absolutely amazing what we find, and they've been hidden away. And this is a process by which we'll be able to work with local people to bring them much more into public usage.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This isn't really so much a question, it's more for information probably for the other councillors as well. One is, you know that I've been in China this last week, 2 weeks, sometime. I visited this enormous theme park place, but within the confines of this theme park, there are pavilions for various countries. So you've got one for Turkey and all that sort of thing. And there's one for Britain. And it features Macclesfield.
Gosh.
And it shows pictures of the weaving looms and everything about it. It shows a video about it and so on. I wonder if you're actually aware of this. It's big, I have to say.
I'm not sure if I'm aware of it, because lots of people do filming. We've had TV cruises, so I'm not always sure where they're from and where it ends up, but that's really amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And the other thing was, I went to a school, and they had a sort of exhibition about silk weaving, painting, pith painting is it called, as well, and so on. And there were about a dozen Brocklehurst silk
Gosh, yes.
pictures there
Yes.
in this museum in Xi'an in China, which I thought was quite incredible. Also, when I was in the museum, I bought for full price a book about in English about the museum and so on. It was about 14 quid or something, and they were over the moon when I presented that to them. They were very, very pleased with it. But I just wanted to just tell you
No, I
that.
think that's actually really apposite to what I'm talking about, because what we've been trying to do for the last 5 years is really raise the ambition of what we're doing. And I do feel we've got an opportunity to make international links. At the moment we're trying to make stronger connections with Sweden and Italy and France, but there's no reason why we can't move on to connect much more closely with China. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amy.
I just want to say at this point that CCTV is not on the agenda this time. Despite them telling us that they would attend. They are now saying that they are short-staffed, and they may attend in the autumn. I will be taking this up with CCTV. I'm going to jump again. I'm really sorry, guys, but I'm going to jump to item number 12. We've got Lee here, who is going to be speaking on this, which is fitness for the future. Lee, if you would like to.
So as you might be all aware, then we've been doing this pilot over the last 6 months in regards to this. I've got a bit more info as well. I'll pass it around. Print this out for. So these are the numbers that we've kind of generated over the first 6 months for Fitness for the Future.
I don't mind.
That's all right.
Thank you. Thank you.
So for those of you who don't know, Fitness for the Future is a project where we have split
Thank you.
3 different projects into one pot of money. So that was our walking football sessions that we do on a Monday night, which probably is on now, it's 7:30. Our pan disability sessions, and we also linked in some supported housing sessions at the Mayfield Centre on Wednesday. Basically within that programme we do different things. Obviously the walking football sort of speaks for itself. It's our walking football session that actually Patrick plays in as well. On a Tuesday, the disability sessions are both for youth and adults, so we run those at Lifestyle Fitness, and that's sort of like a pan disability, again, football session, but we also do multi-sports. And then our supported housing network sessions, so we've already got a couple of sessions that we do across sort of Macclesfield anyway. We've got some funding for a session that we do at Cart House, which is 2 times a week, but the ones at the Mayfield Centre have been really popular with different participants, both on a Wednesday, and we also have one on a Friday. So over the last 6 months we've been sort of obviously putting all this information together. As you can see, we've gone over sort of quite a lot of participants, to be totally honest, within walking football, obviously the pan disability and the supported housing. It's gone over 500 participants within a 6-month period. So the funding that we got from you guys basically has run out, and the numbers have been that positive that in speaking to Helena and obviously putting forward the case for potential additional funding for that programme, be it to continue over a 6-month period or for a year. Then we put the proposal together of how much it would cost to do that, which is obviously in here, which I think has been circulated around. I think from the point of view, especially for the people that have been part of the process and part of the sessions that we've had over that 6-month period, I think the numbers are really good. I think what we've done over that period of time has been very positive for those people as well. Within the walking football team that we've now generated, they now play within the Cheshire FA Walking Football League, which is just finished for this season yesterday, but we also went to Stockport County a couple of weeks ago and actually won the Stockport County tournament at their stadium, which obviously went down really well with them. We went there and won. They didn't give us a trophy. Yeah, it's been really positive, and like I say, we would love to obviously continue to do that and obviously enhance the partnership that we've got with the council in regards to that, and obviously the street sports sessions that are really popular as well.
Lovely.
Any questions?
I have one.
Okay. Thought I was going to get away with questions then.
No, well, I might have two actually.
Okay.
Do people pay to attend?
For the walking football one, they do for the additional sessions. So if they're going to Cheshire, so if we're going to the Cheshire FA thing, then they do. But that basically just covers the cost of putting them into that tournament.
But they don't attend to come on a Monday?
No.
And so nobody pays for any of
It
this?
basically covers the cost of what we have to pay. So the funding that we've got for those additional sessions covers the cost to pay for the site that we go to. Apart from the Mayfield Centre, because obviously that's on site, but that pays for the staff to go in and deliver.
Yeah. And you have quite a lot less for your hand disability
Mm-hmm.
than you do for the other two.
Yeah.
Do you know why?
It's no, not really, because we do sessions in Park Lane School, so they're in Park Lane School twice a week. But that's part of our daily delivery that we do within schools. We promote that we're doing obviously that session on a Tuesday. It's just never really gravitated over the maximum of probably 10 or 12 that we've had over a certain period of time. What we're trying to generate with that session is a team that we run for the Community Trust and the football club, which would then play again within a localised competition, so a hand disability competition for those teams, and it's only 5 or 6 aside. So in theory, for the younger age group, we've probably got enough. Hopefully for a September start, but we could do with obviously more, and I think it's about the promotion within schools and obviously the local disability networks that we're kind of working with at the moment to try and push that a little bit more, because we obviously
So where and how do you promote and advertise?
The majority of the stuff that we do is sort of social media, but again, obviously we do quite a lot within the schools as well. So again, go back to our half-term stuff that we do, we promote all that within our local schools and push that across the board with obviously the council as well, especially in the summer. With the disability stuff, it is again within the local schools to try and push it, and social media, which we get quite a lot of traction from. It is all on our website. We've got a separate website to the football club, but we've also got 2 pages on the football club website. If you can find us on there, you can click on the community stuff and the charity stuff, then we are there, and we've got, obviously it shows us all the things that we're doing and our impact reports, etc.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Okay, so we need to vote on this. Do I have a proposal and a second? You happy to propose?
Yeah, I'm happy to propose.
No, are we proposing, are we deciding whether we're proposing at 6 or 12 months? So it will come from we've got a couple of budgets it will come from if you wanted to go for the full year. Regional Maxfield budget, and we have a community delivery budget as well. So we would probably come from a combination of both. Bit from both of those. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
By the way, I basis suggest that propose we support it as well.
Yeah. I think you're absolutely right there. Well, I will second that. Can we go to the vote? Everybody in favour?
Just going to abstain.
Oh, good. Any abstentions? Thank you. Lovely. Okay. 12 months. Thank you very much. So now we'll go back to item number 5. Planning committee. Now this is just to note the minutes from the 12th of March and the 7th of May 2020. Are we happy to say that we have noted these minutes? And are there any matters arising from? Yes.
Thank you, Brother Mayor. I'd like to make a comment. Does the town council have any way of objecting to HMOs, any policy, whatever, or expecting to make any policies on HMOs? Because I see it has some. I would like to put my own opinion that HMOs have no merit for society, for the environment, for helping with, to owning the environment to the community. Is there any possibility of the town council having any policy, whatever, or just leaving it to treasuries?
What I would suggest is, obviously in planning, the planning committee make either, we're not a decision maker but a consultator, they can make the observations. I would suggest that if councillors want to have that policy, they email me, and then I'll get an idea and put it on the whole council. So if you want, if that's what councillors want, all councillors want to do that, I'm happy if I get, support for that, I'll write one and we'll put it on full council.
I leave it with you because that has been my observation over the years, over time, over life, over my journey. HMOs have no merit whatsoever from the proof I have noticed with them. It's not a home. It's never a home. And what we should be doing is making homes, not HMOs. I don't agree with it. So
Thank you.
Thank you very
Sally,
much.
did you want to come in?
Yeah, just to note that on principle I agree about HMOs. I think any policy we set would have to be within planning guidelines. So it has to be on a planning basis rather than a general policy. What I would say to is that in most cases where HMO come forward to our planning committee, we do object. Because frequently they are of poor quality, very small, and lack any amenity space for the residents, which generally causes the sort of problems that you're highlighting. So I think you can be confident that planning committee, although we don't have statutory planning powers, does generally raise objections when these come forward. That's helpful.
thank you. Thank you. Can I come back?
Yes.
Are we able to say from the town council that we will make a policy or not? Are we able to do that?
I can look into it, but I would suggest, as Councillor Livingston says, that because it has to be a planning matter, it has to be each time. So you could probably have in essence, we don't support them. But for me to look into it and write it, if councillors can let me know if they want me to do that, because I sense not all might want that. So if it's an appetite for it, I'm happy to look into it. I'm sure I could work with Councillor Livingston. David, did you want to come in then?
If I may, thank you, Madam Mayor. I disagree completely. I think we have to take them on case-by-case basis. As Councillor Livingston quite rightly said, many refused or recommended for refusal by the planning committee, but I know some very, very good homes for multiple occupancy. I don't think we can have a carte blanche ruling on this. I think they have to be taken individually. Because, let's face it, for some people, they're a first step on the ladder of housing, aren't they? They offer some form of housing for these people. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, well, councillors can email Laura if they choose to do so. These are just for noting, so can we take them as noted?
Yeah.
Okay. Agenda item number 6 is the Finance Committee minutes from the 12th of May 2025. And any matters arising from these. Again, these are just for noting. Does anybody have any, or can we take these as noted? Fabulous, noted. Thank you very much. We've done 7, we're now on 8. Governance review, reserve policy. Laura, you, yes, it's straightforward reserve policy for council. Includes all about earmark reserves and how it works, and what kind of level of reserve we would look to not go under. Okay, thank you very much. Anybody got any questions or comments, Laura? This one is to vote on, so can I please have a proposer? Thank you, Sandy. And someone to second? Thank you, Chris. Lovely. We shall take a vote. Those in favour? Agenda item number 9. South Park Pavilion update. Simon.
If I start manually and from the town clerk and clarify a couple of points. So this is just an update on where we are. As councillors are aware, this is a fairly special location within the town. It was always likely to be quite a special building, given its location. It's also a building that, when built, will last well into the latter parts of this century. These sort of buildings are never easy to breathe into life from experience of my working life, and frequently take 4 years to actualise, from my experience as well. The 2-storey design we have been pursuing and have planning approval for matches the public consultations that we're undertaking across the town. Just a reminder to councillors that we have secured our design team and our contractor Jones through an open competitive process. We've also sought professional advice on hospitality in terms of running the building and on VAT, so just a reminder of that. At the moment, we are probably best to say that we've come to an impasse or a halt on the basis of we are working through with Cheshire East the licence, the lease agreement, and resolving the issue of the trustees that the department put into trust when it was handed to the town, which then transferred to Cheshire East. Clearly, we wouldn't wish to proceed with the development until such times we were clear there wasn't an issue in terms of the trustee of the charitable status. That probably means that at the moment we are not able to proceed further with the development. I'm just going to ask the town clerk to clarify the current position on the public work loan.
So the public work loan we've had approved for another year. So it was to be drawn down at the beginning of June, and we were able to go back and explain what the hold up had been, and they came back and approved it. We have 1 more year to draw it down. So just for clarification's sake, we haven't drawn down the loan at this point.
And haven't paid interest therefore.
No.
So we have a year's grace in terms of the loan, and aren't running interest charges as people would expect us to do. So on the presumption based upon public consultation that council wish to proceed, I've laid out in the report what I think is probably 3 options for us. One is to continue with the current design. To do that, what we would seek is comfort from the design team and the contractor that there are no outstanding risks to be identified. The sort of risks that we've identified are not uncommon in development, I'm afraid. But we want to be sure that if we proceed, then we have covered all risks and that the cost that is identified should be the cost to complete the work, on the basis that Jones will seek to build this very quickly for us, should we proceed. In theory, if we get the matters with Cheshire East resolved, and I have sympathy for my Cheshire East colleagues in the estates and planning departments, given the level of resources they currently have at disposal, given challenges over the last decade or so, then we should be on site in the autumn and potentially finished by next summer and complete. Failing that, we could decide to pause, redesign on a two-storey basis. Now that is likely to require full planning to be resubmitted. I'm not a design expert, but that, my guess, it would be resubmitted planning. That would probably amount for a further 6 to 9 month delay, so we wouldn't probably be on site until next year, rather than this year. Or alternatively, we could decide that to reconsult with the public and build a building of, which would probably be quite a small 250 square metre single storey building, which wouldn't provide the range of facilities for community use, the office space, the event space that the current proposal does, which is why I think it was attractive to the public. So the proposal at the moment in this report was to note, Madam Mayor, is for the working group to go back to the design team and the contractor and do a thorough appraisal of any outstanding risks, and then come back to the council, at which point we should have further indication of progress on the matters with Cheshire East colleagues. And I'm happy to take any questions, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? No? I think we need to allow you to go back to your control. And have a think about what you would suggest as next steps, the most sensible next steps. How likely are we to, get over the line with the Cheshire East issue? I mean, is that ever, because it was the end of this month, the end of the next month, the next one, is that ever likely to?
Yes, we will get over the line because there's a precedent set with the nursery in the park.
Right.
So it's just a matter of the right people having the time to just write the correct paperwork and get it out. But yes.
Part of my proposal, Madam Mayor, is if we come back and we review that, is to set the final timescale, and at which point we might decide to reappraise the options we take. Because there is a point where Jones can't hold the prices forever. And I think and it's also unfair to keep them working on something unless there's a scheme that's immediately going to be built. So I think we would have to, there be a point, I think, into the autumn we would have to consider. But I will cover that part with the working group when we come back to full council.
Okay, so when are you proposing to come back to full council,
Ideally in the next meeting.
which is July 28th?
And then if any which it will be, then after that I will clarify that, Madam Mayor, once I understand
Okay,
where we are.
lovely. That's, yeah. Thank you. Well, I think we've a lot else that we can do at this point. Do I need to? Okay. So to propose and second that Sandy's going to go away with the working group and come back,
Yes.
hopefully, but not set in stone at the next full council. Lovely. Do I have a proposal? Thank you, Sam. Do I have a second there? Thank you. Everybody in favour? Okay, unanimous. Okay. Thank you. So normally Councillor Wilson, who's the chair of this group, would be here. She's here today. But the main update is that we held a town centre consultation event, which Councillor Wilson was part of, which was well attended and was actually very, very positive experience. We had a lot of people in the room who clearly loved their town and wanted the best for it, and the notes have all been collated. I'm now looking at themes, common themes that are coming through. We've got something on the agenda item later that is a direct result of that. So that's where we're up to as a group, and we will be doing more consultations. We've got an online consultation at the moment, a paper copy, and we're looking to do something with young people. Recently had some work experience, young people in from Fallybroom who have been are looking to do a bit of work with us on what young people want from their town centre, because it's significantly different than what I thought. So very interesting, and so that project will be taken forward working with the Town Centre Recovery Working Group. And Councillor Wilson wanted me, on behalf of her, to thank everyone who'd attended or who facilitated, who'd helped, and who's filled in their right hands.
Yeah, just in support of the town clerk was a very busy event. A lot of goodwill and great suggestions coming forward. And just a slight note on the engagement of the business improvement people. They were there, present, and are definitely engaging in terms of how they might shape and how that might fit into the town centre recovery. So just, I just ask the fellow councillors to note that.
Thank you. Well, this report is for noting. Can we take it as noted? Next one is the library/visitor information centre funding report. So this is an update. So because of the funding that was always given to the visitor information is now going to be visitor information stroke to be in the library. The library is now open later on a Friday, so Friday afternoon is now open as well. Myself and the town centre manager Abby have been liaising with the managers. There's two managers of the Macclesfield Library who are really, really good, positive thinking, seeing this as an opportunity. We're looking at a little bit of signage and a little bit of comms, just to make sure people are aware what's in there. They'll probably disperse cases around the library, so you might see things while you're looking for a book that you're able to buy and, go downstairs. They've had a few technical hitches, which hasn't been easy for them. But in general, the relationship is good and strong, and we hope it'll flourish in there. Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments? Go on, David.
Thank you. Could you just remind us what the contribution is towards the Visitor Information Centre? How much do we pay?
£30,000 a year.
30,000. And I've only been in there once just recently, and when you go in the door it was a very small area to the left.
Yes.
Have they agreed to enlarge that, or other than putting these things around? I didn't even see it. I walked around the library,
Yeah.
didn't even notice it.
They're not moving it, they're keeping it there, but there'll be more signage for it and a bit more. They're looking more to make it a gift shop for Macclesfield, to concentrate on things that people might want to, gifts that have a Macclesfield presence, if you like. But interestingly, we talked about moving it to the other side where the used books were.
Yeah.
Those used books make so much of an income for them. It's better to keep the books there until, because that wouldn't make as much. So it's interesting that all those used books are actually a quite good income stream for them.
So if somebody wants to buy a card or something,
Yeah.
they have to queue up with the people who are
Yes.
taking books out and so on.
Yes.
Is that the system?
Yes.
Right. Thank you.
Is that ever a huge queue?
Sometimes I Saturday morning, yeah.
But am I right in thinking that the library wasn't open on a Friday afternoon?
No.
And it's only because we've moved the bit in
Yes.
there that it is now able to open. So that's just a really,
That's a win.
a really good thing.
And the foreman of the staff kept their jobs
Yeah.
and are trained to be librarians
The
now.
library
Yeah.
that was
So they're very happy.
Yeah, no, I think that's all
Good.
very tremendous, frankly. Yes, so this again is for noting, so we can
Noted.
note, yes, lovely. Right, we've done 12, so we'll now move on to 13, agenda item 13, public realms judge.
So this is as a result of some of the consultation online and the day that we did the consultation. Just for your information, we've had about 50, 60 online replies as well. So, and they're still open. One of the things was how much people value cleanliness of the town, and it varied wildly from I think the town's very clean to people seeing litter everywhere. So it's very, you know, people have very different views. But one of the things was that to have somebody who cleans the town daily. So we know it will be somebody who works in town, can work in other areas, also in other wards, and just has to be arranged, but they would be predominantly litter picking, looking at getting rid of graffiti, they would working with the police if they spotted antisocial behaviour, there would be a kind of person around town Monday to Saturday to kind of do a kind of welcome face while cleaning the town. We know from other town councils and towns and cities that there's also your town seems to be being looked after, encourages other people not to litter and dispose of their litter properly, and also businesses value this high. They're looking to come to a town, they see it's being looked after, they see that people value this. So it was something that came up in the consultation, and it's something that we felt we could implement quickly, and it would be a pilot for a year to see how it would go.
Do we have any questions or comments?
Okay. Does this mean that it only occurs, that kind of attention only occurs in the town?
It's predominantly in the town centre, but there could be arrangements made to do work in wards. We envisage that they'll work closely with the rangers.
Okay.
So if there was a particular project, or if you thought actually the litter on the Western's really out of control, we might planning a day for them to come up to the Western for a certain amount of time to be seen to be doing it, because it's about that change of behaviour as well as the cleaning. It's about encouraging other people to do it too. So yeah, there's definitely scope for them to do things in the wards.
Do I arrange it through the town council?
You would arrange it, if approved, with Halda.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This doesn't quite fit in with what you're saying about the outlying wards, but I would like to see like an old ice cream cart going round with big roundels on, say, Macclesfield Town Council, and somebody cleaning up and so on. And I think that would be very good for our image, for the town to be seen cleaning up. I would just point out that I don't think the dog mess officer covered himself in great glory, and I think this idea of him advising people about how to clear up dog mess and so on was wrong. But I feel that somebody actually sweeping up bag ends and so on is a great idea for the town, and I'm sure it will be very well accepted by the people of Macclesfield. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Well, we need to vote on this then. Oh, sorry.
No, just to say, Madam Mayor, but I think, yes, it's focused in town centre. Although there will be other things coming out of work in the South Centre Recovery Group we want to consider, just to tidy up parts of the town centre. But I
Could I just come back? How are these guys, people going to be bussed to these outlying wards? You said they.
There'll be one person or a job share, so there's one role, but it could be a job share. They would work with the rangers.
So the rangers will take them out in one
Yeah.
half day, of course.
So if we wanted to do something concentrated around your shops for say a week or whatever it was, they would work with the rangers to do that.
Thank you.
That would transport them.
Okay. Lovely.
I'm happy to propose.
Thank you. Do I have a second then? Lovely, thank you, Jane. All in favour? Agenda item 14, parks and play areas. This is to note the report on the West Park Showstopper, I'm very busy about. The poll was answered by approximately, 1,500 people, I think it's 15,000, 1,500 people online and about 200 in person, because at the birthday party we had lots of people. I had to do fine. Curious, because there were lines through. And option B was the one that came out on top, which again I'm really pleased about because it is a proper showstopper. In fact, so much so that it needs planning permission. So, I know, well, if you're going to do it, do it properly. Ed Yoxall is sorting that out
Yeah.
for us. Do we have a time scale for that?
He thought it would be January 26th.
Yeah, okay. But that's very exciting, so I'm thrilled. But that one is just to know. We don't need to. So can we say we've noted it? Very good. Okay. The next item is the date and time. That's the next item. We've already referenced it. It is on Monday the 28th of July at 7 o'clock here at the Town Hall. I think we've reached the end.